Josh here from Cosmos Counseling Clinic. I want to take an opportunity to talk to you about a show that I watched recently. Yes, I binged it like most of us do on Netflix. And I guess binged it over a weekend. Does that still count as binging? Anyway, it's a mini series that came out on Netflix called Adolescence. And incredible show. I highly recommend watching it with a couple of thoughts in mind, and that's what we're gonna go through. Now, spoiler alerts, but I'm not going to focus on some things of like the whodunit. Just going to put that to the side. I didn't realize when I watched the show that it was all done in one shot. Pretty incredible. Or each episode is done in one shot. Pretty incredible. Found it amazing. Put that to the side. What I want to talk about is keeping that door of communication open with our youth. And I think for me that was the biggest takeaway. And maybe a little bit more because I'm a dad. It felt like there was some focus on dads, but that might have just been my vantage point. So I want to address some things that for me got to my heart as a dad. And being a therapist, wanted to share that with you. So the first is regarding social media. And I know we could go on forever about social media, but I've noticed that there's some disconnect in how our youth use social media and how we use social media and what they're doing on it versus what we might be doing on it, and how it's much more maybe a part of their world than it is a part of our world. I could be wrong with that, but there's a disconnect there. And I think if we ask questions, we're curious wise, don't be a detective and lamp on them, but like curious, who are they hanging out with online in those digital spaces? Because those digital spaces are just as important as real life spaces for our youth. Learn about the social media apps that they're using. If it's TikTok, if it's Instagram, if it's whatever else might be out there. You could also learn from your youth. Hey, I just got this app. Can you show me how to use it? Try to engage in their world. That helps open the door. If we're too much of a detective, we might close the door. So let's keep that door open. The other piece is the relationship, the value, the perceived value of the relationship from the youth's perspective between the youth and the dad. There's a couple times in the show, again, spoiler alert, sorry, where it seemed like the youth was like, dad cares more about his job or his thing from his work or his property from work than he does about spending time with me and getting to know me. And I think that was something that got right to my heart of something that I value, is trying to have that connection with, intentional connection with my teenagers. And I think it's important for us, all of us, to do this, to try to keep that door open, which is, as the dad did in one of the episodes, was he's like, okay, let's go for fish and chips, which is a very British thing to do. So make time, be present, show up. Those are things that help open that door of communication with our youth. Be curious about what their interests are. Yes, we've probably spent a lot of time as parents trying to get our kids interested in the same things that we're interested in, but there comes a period in time where what they're interested in is different than what we're interested in, and we need to be interested. Try to understand their fascination with what their interest is, and try to get into that world a bit. That helps open up that door. Another piece, and this one's a bit heavier, is how dads treat their wife, or if you're not together anymore, the mother of your children, has an impact on how the youth then perceives the relationship between male and female, or with significant others. So if you are together, both, I realize this should be reciprocal and it shouldn't just be one way. Like, don't get me wrong with that. But to be kind, be respectful, treasure the relationship that you have with your child's mom, and especially if you're together. If you're not together, you still got to be kind and respectful and have a business style relationship, because how you are treating the mother of your kids is going to have a great impact on how then your child, if they are male, believes they should treat women, and how your daughter thinks she should be treated by men. Hey, end that one off the soapbox with that. So The other thing is whether or not to watch this with your youth, which is, I don't have the perfect answer for that, and I think you, being the expert on your child, will know whether or not you should. But I'll give you a couple tips to then figure out whether or not you should. So Common Sense Media for me is a great resource where they give ratings on the movie and then and the show and the contents that are in it. So go to Common Sense Media and have a little read through there and figure out if this is something you feel is appropriate to watch with your youth, because there's a chance that watching this together could open the door. There's also a chance that watching this together could close the door. So some of the things to just be aware of is Common Sense Media says that this is a show that should be watched by those that are 15 and older. Parents that are on there also agree 15 and older. Youth that are on there say 14 and older. So just there's that age there to be aware of. But they also ask things about, how is accountability portrayed in the show? How is social media use portrayed? And what is the value there? And how is social media influence the youth in the show? And then also, what is the story that is being, the intentional moral of the story in this mini-series? So those kind of questions are things that you can ask if you choose to watch this with your youth. If you watch it on your own, those are then good questions you can ask yourself and then be able to pursue that with your youth. So those are just some of my highlights or reasons why that show is important and my takeaways from it. And yeah, it was heavy, got me here. If you choose to watch it, have a box of tissues ready. Anyway, this is Josh from Cosmos Counseling Clinic signing off. Take care out there.